I'm at Downtown Dodgeball League in Toronto, Ontario, and I'm here because it's Pride Month. Today we're talking to 4 different athletes who identify with different sexual and gender identities. And that's important because you wouldn't get the full picture of mental illness if you just talked to someone with depression. So I hope you enjoy their stories. They're pretty cool people. My name is Leanne Simpson. This is Spilt Milk, and the back of my shirt says SickNotWeak. I just wanted to start by thanking you for being a part of this, and if you don't mind telling your story a little bit, I mean, I'm sure you do it all the time, but...
No, thank you very much for having me and giving me an opportunity to talk about some of the challenges that have been going on in my life and that some of the challenges that my community faces. Being a trans youth, it was a very difficult time. My teenage years were incredibly tough. I dealt with a lot of depression. I don't know necessarily deal with it in the best way. I didn't really know where to turn. I kind of did a lot of isolating. I spent a lot of time in my room. The draw to come to Toronto was like something that I needed to do. I needed to get out of my small town. I needed to be in a place where it was going to be more open than I had hoped and I thought that it would be, and it seemed to turn out okay right now. It's still been a lot of challenges, but things are going in a good direction right now. So,
you've talked about kind of dealing with depression and anxiety in addition to everything that you were going through, and how did you deal with that kind of stuff?
It's something that I still deal with, actually. Pre-transition, I was dealing with a lot of depression. I still had a form of social anxiety. I guess I was really uncomfortable with myself, and I was really uncomfortable in my own skin at that point in time. After transition, and even I guess during transition, it's a different kind of anxiety. It's more, how am I going to be treated when I go out into the public spaces, and how am I going to be treated when I'm in the workplace, or how am I going to find a doctor that has the right understanding of how to treat trans people, which is it's a huge issue. So the total training that doctors have in the most liberal of medical schools, in their whole course, and all their course load is 4.5 hours on trans health.
4.5 hours?
Which is absolutely not satisfactory.
That's like the length of one Lord of the Rings.
Exactly, and that's the most liberal schools. So it's a huge problem where doctors are not getting the proper training to help trans people. So access to healthcare, there's huge waiting lists for even to actually get in to see a family doctor.
And how about resources for mental health of people transitioning?
Just having knowledge, just for the doctors to gain knowledge and be able to treat trans people better with respect to like pronouns, and just understanding what it's like to be trans and dealing with all the social pressures and how people are treated on the street, and the anxiety and the depression, and so it's really rampant in our community, and hopefully things are going to get better, but right now it's a very grim situation.
Any advice for people who might be going through things in small towns or big towns or anywhere they don't feel at home? What would you tell them?
Find people that are supportive, that you can be yourself with, and that are going to treat you nice. It's so important to have a support structure. Families really need to be supportive of their LGBT kids and siblings and parents. Try not to listen to all the noise that's out there with all the negativity. Try to keep that to a minimum. One of my friends, an activist, a great person in the city, Nikki Ward, says that she tells us to trans people, occupy space. Just go where you're not normally. There's not a lot of trans people, so it's exposure to people that wouldn't necessarily know a trans person. So whether it's running for some political office, or just taking part in being a board member of some kind, or just playing in a sports league, it's really important to do that, and just to get more exposure, because there's a lot of misinformation out there, and people have these ideas of who trans people are that are just completely false. And a lot of it is to blame by the politicians who do fear-mongering, who try and paint us in a really inaccurate and a harmful manner. And we have to push back against ignorance and hatred like that.
For me, I would be an ally. How can I help? How can I help get the right messages out?
Yeah, just being supportive. If you hear transphobic statements or people being mean, speak up, say something. Say, you know what, this is not acceptable. And if some trans person or LGBT person says something that, you know, this makes me uncomfortable, listen to them when they say that. It's not, don't try and have an argument with them, because that does happen a lot. True allies listen to the issues that we're dealing with and really listen, and not just say, well, I don't understand this part, and then cause an argument. It's hurtful when that happens from allies. So support and understanding is huge and key.
I think that's it. Thank you so much, Savannah.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.